Hey guys, so I figured I would do a little experiment here on this channel and do a vlog style video where I read the lowest rated books on my physical TBR right now. So I have a lot of books that I need to read that I've bought, and I want to read some of the lowest rated ones to see if I agree with the majority of people that say that these are very average books, or if I am in the minority and end up finding a hidden gem. Because my favorite book of all time, Imaginary Friend, is not very highly rated on Goodreads, but I ended up loving that book. So, little experiment here. We're gonna see how it goes. Let's go ahead and pick out which of the books on my TBR I will be reading. My dog wants to help out with this part of the video, so thank you so much, Jamie, for helping out. So here are the three books that I'm going to be reading. The Beast is an Animal by Peter Nell Van Arsdale, I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney, and Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. So I don't know really what any of these three books are about. I Know Who You Are is the same author of Sometimes I Lie, which I thought that was a pretty good thriller. So I'm curious to see how I like this one. And then Strange Grace and The Beast is an Animal, I believe they're more young adult type mystery thrillers. I have no idea. So we're just gonna find out together what these books are. Okay, so I started the Beast is an Animal audiobook. I found it on Libby for free. So I've borrowed it and I started it. I'm about 60 pages in, and I think I have an idea now of what this book is. It is about a village that lives near these woods that are haunted by these things called soul eaters. All the children in the village lose their parents to these soul eaters and have to move and relocate, and that's kind of where we're at. So I'm intrigued. I don't really know totally what's going on yet, but I'm intrigued enough to keep going, so we'll see how this is. And then the only book that is not available on Libby as an audiobook is Strange Grace by Tessa Gratton. So I'm going to physically read this book while I'm listening to, well, like not at the same time, but I'm going to be physically reading this book, and then when I'm not able to physically read and I'm doing like cleaning or house chores or whatever, I will be listening to The Beast is an Animal. So we'll see how this goes. You want to play so bad, don't you? Yeah. I've got my book, I've got my coffee, I've got a candle, I've got my dog. I think we're ready to start reading. Let's do it. So I did not get as much reading done as I wanted to today because I was the sleepiest human of all time. Do y'all ever have those days where you are just so tired the whole day, no matter how much you try to nap, no matter how much you try to get rest and just veg, you feel so tired? That was me today. So I didn't get as much reading done as I would have liked, but I am about 60 pages into Strange Grace, and I think I've figured out what it's about now. Yay. So this book follows this town that a long time ago had made a deal with the devil in the woods, and basically the devil will give this town lifelong prosperity in exchange for them sacrificing the strongest man in their town. Where the story picks up is this town is coming to the point where they have to sacrifice a man, but for some reason their town's prosperity is running low. Like the crops are dying, people are getting sick, animals are getting sick, so they're trying to figure out what went wrong with this bargain with the devil, and so these characters have to go into the woods to figure out what's wrong with the devil. That's where I'm at. I don't really know what else is going on. This book is very strange because the chapters, there really aren't chapters. There's like sections in this book that follow different like nights and days, and they're like 50 pages long. So like to get through a chapter, you have to read like at least 50 pages of the book, which is a lot. So I've like been stopping in the middle of these like chapters to like take breaks, and it's been hard to like get back into it because there's no like clear chapter breaks. Very strange. The three main characters are so far very, it's like written in a way that's very beautiful. Like the writing is beautiful, but it's very hard to follow because right now I'm a little bit confused. And even though I like the writing style, kind of confusing. So I'm just gonna keep going. I am now about 100 pages into Strange Grace, and I can firmly say that this book is really weird. Okay, so the first weird thing about it is there's 3 main characters that we kind of alternate perspectives, and these 3 main characters, we're not totally sure of their relationships with each other. Like, they all seem to be in love with each other, but we don't know if it's like a friend kind of love or like a real kind of love. And they're just very odd. And I don't know why it has to be that way. Like, it just doesn't seem necessary for the story. Like, they could just be like the best of friends. And that would like make just as much, well, it would make more sense than kind of what is going on with their relationship right now. I don't understand this. Is it a love triangle? Is it not? Is it, I don't understand. That's kind of odd. It's like these relationships with the 3 main characters and like it not really being defined what they are to each other. I'm confused. So I just got to the part of Strange Grace, like the big part that the whole book's been building up to this big point, this big thing that's gonna happen. And then it happens, and the way it's told is it's told in like these fragments of scenes where we follow our 3 main characters throughout the entire story, and then when this event happens, all of a sudden we're no longer following them, and we're following like these random side characters that we don't even care about at all. And we get like these little snippets of what's going on with like our 3 main characters, and we don't even get the full story. Oh, you guys, I think I can see why this is rated low on Goodreads. No! I'm really hoping that the second half of this book, because I'm about halfway through, second half of this book really makes up for the first half, because I'm just mad. I wanted to know what was gonna happen during that big thing. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. So I'm listening to the Beast is an Animal audiobook while I'm working today, and I'm about 200 pages into this audiobook now. Well, into the book itself. And it's not good, you guys. It's really not good. So there's just a ton of exposition throughout the whole book, and we're kind of just told what like the dynamics of this village are, and the characters are just kind of explained through this exposition. And then there's really only one character that is fleshed out at all, and she's just kind of bland. Like there's not a whole lot to her. Like I'm very confused, and the plot is just kind of all over the place. It's got a cool concept, and I'm hoping like this last kind of chunk of the book, like you can see how close I am to finishing it. I'm hoping this last chunk is better and like redeems some of it, because this just has not been very enjoyable, unfortunately. Yeah, so far I have had, well, I'm not done with either Strange Grace or this one yet, but both of them are very average, and I can see why their Goodreads ratings are what they are. So far this experiment is, I mean, it's still going well. Like I'm still glad I'm reading these because I own them and I needed to read them, but no hidden gems yet. So let's hope that I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney is like the one hidden gem that I will find in this video. But I'm gonna finish these 2 books, see if they redeem themselves, and I will get back to you guys. Okay, I finished The Beast is an Animal, and not for me. Yeah, this one wasn't good. Most of the time I didn't know what was going on. I feel like it was overly complex. And maybe if I physically go back and reread this book, it would kind of flow a little bit better, but it was just so fragmented how it was told, and our main character was so bland, like really didn't have much of a personality at all. The concept just, it wasn't executed very well. I did not like this one. And then there was, of course, the like cliche young adult romance subplot that had to be introduced. I don't know why. It was so unnecessary. So I'm rating this 2 stars. I'm so bummed. So that was not a hidden gem. So book 1 down from this reading challenge. And so far, not so good. So we'll keep going with Strange Grace, and my next audiobook is going to be I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney. So hopefully those 2 are better than this one. We'll see. So I'll keep you guys updated. All right, just got back from the dog park. I have started I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney, and I'm really liking it so far. The beginning is so intriguing. Here is the cover, if you forgot what it looked like. So I am going to continue listening to the audiobook, but I am going to go to the gym. So I will go to the gym, go to the grocery store, not that you guys care about any of this, and let you guys know how far I get in the audiobook when I get back. So, peace. I am back from the gym, and I am now about almost 60 pages into I Know Who You Are, and I'm really liking it so far. I'm very intrigued. Our main character is definitely very unreliable. We don't know what's the truth, what's not. She also may be suffering from like this trauma from her childhood that's caused her to forget some of her past. And so I just love this so far. I'm very excited to keep going. So yay, maybe this is the hidden gem of this video. Let's cross our fingers and hope so. All right, next steps for tonight. I've already completed step 1, which is eat dinner. So step 2 is get cozy. Step 3 is make cookies. Step 4 is read. So let's do this. Okay, so I have a tangent I'm about to go off on about young adult relationships, and more specifically, friendships. I feel like friendships are extremely underrated in young adult books that I've been reading. Why do we feel the need to always make every relationship in a young adult book romantic? No matter who the characters are, no matter what the situation is, no matter where the story's going, there's always some sort of romance subplot or romantic relationship that's blooming or whatever it may be. But why can't we ever have friendships? Just like really great friendships. I really think that if I read a great book with just the best of friends, I feel like that would be so much more unique and more impactful and just more interesting to read about at this point, because every book has these cliche romances. So Strange Grace obviously has this, and that's why I'm talking about it. You know, I have to give credit to the Truth Witch series by Susan Dennard, because she really does have what I'm talking about, where the two main characters are just the best of friends, and that's a beautiful thing to see, and people love that series because of that relationship. So I just wish that authors, if any authors are out there, if any writers are out there, maybe put a friendship in your book instead of a romance, because sometimes really great friendships are just as impactful, if not more beautiful, than romances. That's all I have to say. Okay, I'm gonna go back to reading now. Oh boy. This, you guys, was not the book for me. I'm very sad to report. I did finish it this morning, and I have a lot I want to talk about with this. So this next chunk of the video will be me kind of talking about my problems with Strange Grace. And it could get into spoiler territory, so anytime there's spoilers, I will put spoilers on the screen. So if you don't want any spoilers for Strange Grace and you're interested in reading this, you can skip to the part of the video where you no longer see the word spoiler on your screen. But I do really want to talk about this because I have so many issues with it that I want to get out there and see if, you know, this book didn't work for me, but I did read really positive reviews of it. So a lot of people do like this book. So maybe it's the book for you, but definitely not the book for me. So overall, I gave this book 2 stars. That is very generous, 2 stars. And it's because I'm acknowledging that the writing in this was beautiful. And it's not the way that this is the way, it wasn't the writing style that bothered me at all. It was more of a couple other things. So first thing I want to talk about is just the plot structure in general and the pacing. So this story follows 3 main characters, and it follows this village living next to this forest, and this forest has a devil inside lurking, and the devil every 7 years needs a sacrifice from the village in exchange for a blessing. And so this village, they never have disease, no one ever gets sick, no one ever gets hurt because of this sacrifice every 7 years. And the sacrifice is the strongest man in the village. So one of our 3 main characters is the strongest man in the village, is going to be the next sacrifice. And so essentially you're kind of building up, the first half of the novel is building up to this sacrifice and one of our main characters going into the forest to be sacrificed. So we hear all about the forest and what lurks inside and and we're building up to this. And then so we get to the scene where the 3 main characters are going into the forest, and what happens is we just kind of cut and fade to black, and then skip to the next morning when the 3 main characters make it out of the forest. So we never actually read about their experience in the forest, and that's all I wanted to read about. I was like, are you kidding? We don't even get to see their experience in the forest. And then how it's told in the second half of the book from there is it's told in these fragmented scenes you get of the 3 main characters recovering memories they had lost from being in the forest. So the 3 main characters don't remember anything that happened, but slowly you're revealing the details about what happened that night in the forest where our 3 main characters went in it. And I didn't like that at all. I thought that was a really cheap plot device to build up tension in your book. Like, I do not like that at all, where the author chose to force the characters to lose their memory for not a very compelling reason, and then to build up tension by slowly, through various ways, having your characters remember certain things from being in the forest. And that's like the big reveal at the end, is from them recovering their memories. I just didn't like it. That wasn't for me. So that may not bother certain readers, but that bothered me. I did not like that way of the story being told through like flashbacks to the forest. I would have rather them just been in the forest and we learn about everything while they're in the forest. That would have been super cool. So anyways, that's the first thing. The second thing is the three main characters and their relationship with each other. So through the first half of the book, it's kind of hinted at that these three main characters have not just a friendship with each other, but it goes deeper than that. And basically, they're all in love with each other. And it's not really a love triangle because they all love each other, but it's never explained what it really is and how it became that way. So I don't care who the characters love. I want to just be convinced of their love, and I want to see the development towards that relationship. And you don't read about three-person relationships in books very often. So when you do, I want to know how that relationship developed and make it believable. So the way this story was told was we kind of just were told that these characters are in love with each other and this is how they feel and you should believe it and move on. But it wasn't convincing. And like three-person relationships are not something that would like work in real life typically. So if you're gonna put one in your book, make it believable, have the development there to show us how this relationship would even work, and just like call it out and say it for what it is instead of kind of like hinting around it. I just found it unnecessary. It didn't move the plot forward in any way. It wasn't necessary for the plot. So if you aren't going to develop it fully and make it believable, leave it out and just make them all like the best of friends, and that would still be, it would still serve the same purpose for the story. So that just didn't make sense to me how that relationship could have worked, and we don't ever see how it's developed and experience it in a way that's believable. So anyways, that's the second thing. The third thing, so basically this is a part of the plot kind of where the sacrifice to the devil in the forest is supposed to work like the strongest man is supposed to go into the forest and have a chance at survival, where they would run away from the devil for one night, and if they survive, they get to go beyond the village and live the rest of their lives in peace or whatever. So basically what we're told at the very beginning is that 25 men have been sacrificed thus far in this village, and 4 of them supposedly survive, but we don't actually like see any of those survivors except one, but that's kind of an outlier. We're gonna ignore that for now. So 4 people out of 25 survived. That is a very low chance of survival. So you already kind of know that if the sacrifice is going into the forest at night, he's probably not coming out of it. He's most likely almost always going to die. And fine, the village accepts that. That's the bargain and whatever. But then halfway through the book, through some memory reveals of the 3 main characters being in the forest, we come to realize that actually there is no chance of survival, and that every time the sacrifice goes into the forest, they for sure die. The 4 who supposedly survived actually did end up dying, but we just didn't see it or know it. And somehow this revelation drastically changes all 3 of our main characters and drastically changes the whole village. We went from, it's okay to sacrifice your man to the forest, and most likely he's gonna die, but like that's okay because he has like this really slim chance of survival, but we're pretty much sending him to the wolves, like he's pretty much gonna die. We went from that being like totally fine, yeah, that works, to okay, they don't survive, they do die, but it's still the same bargain. And all of a sudden, that is unacceptable. No way. No, we could never agree to that. What are you talking about? That changes everything. What? And it's like this huge earth-shattering revelation. But what? Like, okay, so yeah, you're gonna die, but didn't you like already agree to pretty much die anyway? Like, by going into the forest, you pretty much know there's like this much chance of survival. So how does that, like, I don't understand. Like, I can see how that would, like, be like, oh, yeah, that does, like, oh, man, we got to think about that now. But to have it be, like, this plot-changing, earth-shattering revelation that it's presented in this book that changes every character forever, I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. Like, that little detail to change I didn't buy it. That was so unbelievable to me that I couldn't get past that. So the rest of the book seemed so ridiculous because it was like, oh my God, we have to change this bargain. Oh, because they're gonna die. But like, yeah, they were gonna die anyway, probably. So, whatever. I'm like screaming at the camera. So that is the third and final thing that it was a huge problem I had with this book. That being said, out of spoilers now, overall, I did not like this book, but a lot of people did. So if you like a very dark, witchy fantasy story that has some pretty gross body horror in it, like some pretty nasty imagery of like things on these characters' bodies and happening to their bodies, it was kind of gross. But if you don't mind that and you like a witchy fantasy, you might like this. It just wasn't the book for me. And that's all. So 2 stars. I'm gonna quickly move on to the next book so that I can forget about what I just read in this book because, woo, just so not for me. I'm about 190 pages into I Know Who You Are, and I'm really liking it. I'm curious to see how it ends because right now it kind of follows 2 separate timelines, and the one timeline's gotta blow it up big time, and then the other timeline we still don't know really what's going on. I'm intrigued. I'm really liking this. I like the pacing of it. I like the alternating timelines, so I'm really excited to see how this wraps up, and I hope that the ending doesn't disappoint. What did I just read? What? Now that I've composed myself a little bit more. As you saw throughout some of my reactions, I really liked the first half of this book and how we had the alternating timelines. I really liked the mysteries going on in the present, and then the past was very like disturbing and dark and heavy with the content, but I was still very intrigued to keep going and see how it all connected. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really hoping that the ending would just like blow me away, but it was so weird. I am so uncomfortable. I don't know how to feel about that twist. If any of you have read this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna spoil this book because I just want to. So I'm gonna put up spoiler on the screen, and you can skip ahead until you don't see spoiler anymore on the screen, because I don't know if I recommend this book. The big twist in this book is that her husband that goes missing, it ends up that he wasn't actually missing. He was in hiding trying to frame her, and he was her brother who she ran away from when she was little. So this whole time she was married to her brother. And then they had like a pretty explicit scene at the end, and it was just so cringy. I think I draw the line at incest. And then she ends the book pregnant. I don't think I can get past that. That was pretty gross. So this was not a hidden gem either. I'm very disturbed. Not in a good way. And yeah, so let's wrap up this fun challenge experiment, shall we? In conclusion, This was not how I was hoping this vlog would go. I was hoping to find a hidden gem, as you all know, and I am sad to report that I most definitely did not find a hidden gem. So let's recap. I first read The Beast is an Animal by Peter Nell Van Arsdale. This received 2 whopping stars from me because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. It was very convoluted. The main character was bland, and it was just disappointing overall. Then I read Strange Grace, which I went into a whole rant about, so I don't need to go over that again, but basically, plot structure, didn't like, pacing, didn't like, the twist didn't make sense. Yeah, so this also received 2 stars. Last book I just finished was I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney, and I'm so torn on this one because I really enjoyed this book up until the twist at the end was so icky that I don't know if I can get past that. So it's like, I want to rate it 3 stars because I enjoyed the first half of this book so much and was so intrigued the whole time to find out all these different secrets and mysteries. And then when we found them out, it was so disgusting that it was like, maybe we should have just left it a mystery and just not answered anything, and that might have been better. So I think I'm gonna have to go with 2.5 stars. Yeah, I mean, because 3 star, I'm so conflicted on this one. I'm gonna give it 3 stars right now, but I don't recommend it. It has a lot of really, really heavy content, like a lot of child abuse, and it has a rape scene, and it's a lot of heavy content that if you don't like reading that stuff, this is not the book for you. What really bothered me about it, though, was just the ending and the twist. The rest of the stuff, like, I was able to read through it and wasn't too disturbed or anything like that, but the ending was just, like, so disgusting. That was my experiment, and overall, I would not recommend any of these books. I guess that's why they were the lowest rated books on my shelves. Now we know. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully this was semi-interesting to watch. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I release 2 videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And hopefully my next challenge that I do will be me reading my 5-star prediction books, and hopefully that'll be super positive. So I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.